Straw Hut Media.
Hello, Salem, and hello, listeners everywhere. This is Release Date Rewind, and I'm Mark J. Parker, your host, a filmmaker, a film lover, a Salem stan, an autumn addict, a witch lover, a wannabe Wiccan, and oh boy, do I love the film we're discussing today. Thank you for checking out this podcast from Straw Hut Media on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. My anniversary theme for July is 90s comedies that have some bite, that have a little dash of murder, and we have a great one for you, a very popular one. 30 years ago already, in July 1993, Disney released a Halloween movie in the summer, randomly, and that movie is the one and only Hocus Pocus. That's right, everybody. We talked about Sarah Jessica Parker in the last episode, and we're talking about her again. Parker's got to stick together. This movie went from a decent turnout at first to one of the most famous movies in the world and became a fall staple for many people out there, including my guest and me. Double spoil and trouble. If you have not seen Hocus Pocus yet or need to rewatch, I highly recommend you do that now on Disney Plus, and then you can resume our chat because we are going to spill the cauldron, kiddies. All right, sisters, light a candle, grab your brooms, mops, and vacuums, and hold on to your yabos because it's time to rewind. Little listeners, the time's come to play this podcast. Hi, everybody. That was pretty dumb, I know, but I had to. That was my little song from Sarah. Call me Sarah Sanderson this evening. I am with a great friend, a fellow witchy Halloweeny. She's the Halloween Queen, everyone. If you're not following the Halloween Queen on Insta, you're missing out because she is back on the pod. Please welcome back my friend, Solana Sorrento.
Hello. What a great introduction. I feel like Winifred.
Right? I just came up with that. Yeah. So
that was really good.
Well, thank you. I mean, only the best for the best, right? So
thank you.
I knew when this year started, I was like, okay, well, I just know this iconic movie is about to hit 30 years. And I knew that you, Solana, would have to be on this episode. You and I not only love the spooky stuff, we love Halloween. And I feel like this movie coming out in July just totally cements that July is the official start of Halloween preparations. Am I right?
Yes, definitely. I've already started buying stuff and I'm ready to go.
Yes.
Ready to go.
I saw their amazing show in Disney World. I forget what they call it.
Oh, you saw that?
Oh, yeah. The Spelltacular. Oh, my God, Solana. It was so much fun in Magic Kingdom. And I got a shirt, but I got it. It was like the only one left and it was small. And then I washed it once and it shrank so much. I was like, I cannot be wearing this around town. So
my mom's broom that we made when we went to Salem.
Oh, my God. Wait, you made
this
brooms?
Is my mom's.
Wow.
Yeah, we went to the witchery.
Yeah.
It is so much fun. I'm going again in October.
Are you going to go this October? Oh my God, I love it. I know. Yes. I was just in Salem in April and it was so fun to be back. I went for the Salem Horror Film Festival and you'll love it. It's a great festival. I would love to get in there someday. But you will love this. There was actually a party going on in the town hall building.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It was so cool to see like party lights in there, and Greg and I were walking around. We're like, wow, this is crazy. Like, it's just like the movie. Crazy. And we're like jumping up into the windows to try to see like, I think it was like maybe a wedding or like a work event. Like people were like looking at us and we're like, what's going on in there? Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was so obsessed with this movie. It came out like on pay-per-view, like, I don't know, maybe 2 months later. And I bought, you had to buy it. So I bought it once and then I would put the channel on and it was all, squiggly and everything. So you couldn't see it. But I recorded the entire movie on like a cassette tape. So then I could listen to I Put a Spell on You and Come Little Children because it was you couldn't find it anywhere. So and I recorded the whole thing. Yeah, and I held it by the TV and I remember I was in my grandparents' bedroom and I was like, "Don't come in here for like an hour and a half." And I'm holding it like this, my hand's shaking because I want it has to be like right by the speaker.
Oh my God, I love that so
Yeah.
much. I remember you have told me that before, and that is exactly something I would have done as well. Like, I feel like I probably did that with scenes with my old talk boy from Home Alone,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Absolutely.
I had a call girl. It was purple and pink.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that's what we would
Yeah,
do. We
you
would
I could see you
record
doing
these,
that.
right? And then, like, especially like certain, like you said, certain songs from movies that, like, were kind of more obscure and you couldn't really, back then, we didn't know how to find them, right? So you just record them
Right.
from that. And then that way you have your, like, bootleg version. But wow, I
Yeah,
love,
yeah.
so I'm just picturing young Solana back in 93, 94, just like sitting there on the floor, getting tired, but holding her hand up to record it. Oh my God, that's so funny. And that's how you
Yeah.
know all the quotes. You know, I've watched
Yeah.
this movie so many times, just rewatching it today. Like, I'm not lying, a solid 50% of this movie, I am proud to say, I quote before the lines come out. I know exactly
Right.
how the actors say it. I mean, how many times, Solana, do you think you've watched this movie?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I watch it like every time it's on during Halloween. So they show it like at least 30 times on like what is it? Freeform.
On Freeform? Yep.
So, oh, at least 100, if not more.
Yeah.
Like then once my mom and I have the VHS still. It's
Wow.
packed away somewhere, but I was like, I want to keep this. Like I kept some VHSs, and I mean, I would watch it every day. I had TV in my room. I put it,
Wow.
and
So
I go
this
to
was
sleep
that
with
kind
it.
of movie for you. You would really
Yes,
watch it every day for like a year or
yes,
so. Yeah. Oh my God, I love
yeah.
that. I didn't watch it that
Like it,
religiously, but I have seen it maybe not 100 times, but I would not be surprised if I've seen it, I don't know, at least 40 times. Like, this is just such a fun, truly a classic movie. And I know this is sort of like the pumpkin spice frappuccino of Halloween movies. Everyone loves
yeah.
Hocus Pocus, but I don't care. We're going to be basic. We're going to nerd out about this great movie because we love it, just like all those other millions of people love it. And that's okay, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I think I loved it before like everybody jumped on the
Yes.
bandwagon. Like I remember that year, if I was 10, no, was I 10? I don't know how old I was. What was it? Let's just say I was 10.
Yeah, yeah,
I
because, oh, yeah,
had,
by the way, Solana, wait, should we
oh,
talk about it on the pod? Happy
you can
40th.
say it. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's funny because I'm having a party.
Yes. Oh
Not
my
my
gosh.
birthday happened in May, but I'm having it later because it was just too busy in May. And my theme is Salem chic.
Oh,
So
love it.
yeah. So everything's purple and black and witchy and hocus
Yes.
pocus.
Listeners, I just have to rave for a second about Solana's invite for this birthday party of hers. It was this amazing horror movie trailer she cut together. I was so it gave me chills. I was so over the moon happy. But yes, happy 40th.
Thank you.
You don't look a day over 20 because you've been sucking the life out of children all these years. So,
Yes,
you know.
that's exactly it. Why do you think I go to my mom's dance school all the time?
You're like, okay, kids, yeah, get on your ballet shoes and then come
Yeah,
right this way.
drink this. No, but yeah, so obviously Hocus Pocus, I loved. I haven't changed much like since
Right.
I was 10. I pretty much loved the same thing all the time, and I never changed. If nobody liked it, too bad. I liked it,
Oh, totally.
and and I remember I made my own Sanderson costume. I had my bridesmaid's dress from my brother's wedding, and I wore that because it was burgundy, and I couldn't find a purple cape, so I wore a purple raincoat as a cape.
Love
And
it.
like it was just all different colors. I gave myself like well, no, I actually have beauty mark, but I darkened it.
Yeah.
I have to find the picture. So like in my mind, I was a Sanderson sister, even though like the costume didn't exist yet, which
Oh,
I do have
totally.
now. If it
Yeah.
wasn't a sauna out, I was gonna put it on, but it's just way too hot. I have the wig. I have the wig right here. My wig.
She's got the Winifred wig. Oh my gosh. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see. Now,
Yes.
Solana, when's the last time you put the wig on?
Halloween.
Okay, just this
Last
past
Halloween.
Halloween? Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
and then I'm bringing it to Salem because I didn't take a picture with my costume on because I don't know, I just felt like, oh, everybody's doing it, blah.
Yeah.
But I want to
Yeah.
because it's just so I think I'm either going to go in front of Allison's house
Yes.
because that's more public because the actual house
Right.
is like somebody lives there.
Yeah,
So
Max
like,
and Danny's house. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
really cool looking house, and I've been there too, where it's like on a bend. It's kind of on the end of a bendy road, if I remember correctly, right? But yeah,
Yes, yes.
when I went, there was a whole group of people like me taking pictures, and I did hear that someone does live there, so you got to be a
Yeah.
little respectful, right?
I just read on Facebook because I belong to like all Salem things.
Oh yeah.
The house, like diagonal from Max and Danny's house, is for sale. And I
Oh.
was like, if I win the Powerball, I am totally buying the house across the street, and then I'll just live there, like,
Oh,
and get a
that
job at the
I
witch
could
store. And
I could totally, Solana, I could totally picture you living in Salem. It would not feel out of the ordinary at all. I feel like you'd
no,
fit right in. You'd be like, oh yeah, Hocus Pocus house right there. Good morning, right? That would be
yeah,
sick. And I
yeah,
bet it's going to be a lot of money. So yeah, let's cross our fingers for some
yeah,
Powerball,
yeah.
some lottery,
Yes, yes.
right?
Tis time!
You were 10 years old when this came out. Did you see it in the theater, Solana?
Yes, 3 times.
I'm so happy. This is bringing me back. Listeners, if you remember, Solana was just on the show this time last year for League of
Yes.
Their Own, and how funny. A Penny and Gary Marshall connection with this film, and a Madonna connection. There you go. And Rosie. I'll tell you more about her later. But then she also was on Stay Tuned, another wacky early 90s movie that I feel like is very much in the same family as this. But
Yes.
I just love that this was like your thing. As a kid, you would just go see the same movie multiple times. You'd say, Ma, take me to the
Yeah.
theater. I
Yes.
love it.
That's exactly how I said it, probably.
Ma, save the cannoli. Get me to the theater.
Yeah. No,
Wow.
bring the cannoli.
Bring
We're
the
eating it in
cannoli.
the theater.
Bring
Yeah.
extras because I need to be snacking on cannolis during Hocus Pocus. Actually, that sounds like
Yes.
a dream. In air conditioning, movie theater air conditioning, there's nothing better in the summer, right? So
Right.
who did you see this in the theater with? Do you remember?
I saw it with my mom first, and then, believe it or not, the one of the very little times my father actually took me to the movies was to see this because my mom
Wow.
told him to take me. But then I remember he left me and went to the bathroom for like half the movie.
Oh,
So I was like, that's okay. Like, I was enjoying the movie. I didn't care because I was watching my favorite movie.
yeah.
And then he finally came back, and then my mom took me again. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully he was okay. Maybe something
Oh,
was
he no, he was just bored.
uh he's like,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah,
Solana can enjoy this. And he probably went
yeah.
into one of the other popular movies that I'll tell you about. He probably went to Jurassic Park. He's like, let me just watch a couple scenes from Jurassic Park while she's in there with her witch movie, right? But so now, Solana, since we're talking about it so much, let's just dive right in. Let's rewind
Okay.
everybody to July 16th, 1993, or as Danny, Thora Birch, says to the witches when they return to Salem. I always love how she goes, 1993. So we're going back to 1993 when Hocus Pocus came to theaters. So other popular movies that were out in theaters that maybe Solana's dad went to go sneak in for a few minutes were, well, this came out the same exact day as Free Willy. How iconic. Two 90s family, you would say hits, but neither of them, Free Willy ended up making a bit more money than Hocus Pocus, but neither were like number one movies, which is so surprising to me thinking about them nowadays. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy
Yeah.
that this movie was not a hit. It came in at number 4 opening weekend, then dropped to number 8, then quickly dropped to like 11, 12, 13. It was not, a massive success, which is very interesting because now, I mean, forget it. This movie still brings in money 30 years later,
Right.
right? But so this
Yeah.
came out the same day as Free Willy. Fun fact about Free Willy, I remember seeing that in theaters as well, I think with my grandmother, and we got there a little late, and I remember that was the first memory I have of sitting in the front row of a packed theater. And the pain in my neck, I was like, wow. So this is what it's like in the front row. And I just remember seeing, Willie and the boy and the Michael Jackson song during the credits, and I was just like, oh my God, I love this movie, but my neck hurts so bad. So little fun fact about that. Other movies. Jurassic Park, just talked about on this show a couple episodes ago. The Firm with Tom Cruise. In the Line of Fire with, I think, Clint Eastwood, if I remember correctly. Sleepless in Seattle, a classic that I admit I still have not ever seen. Isn't that crazy? I
Oh
know.
my God, you've never seen that?
I've never seen it. I know. I've seen a clip or two, but I don't know where I've been. I know. That was, of course, hugely popular. Rookie of the Year, which I did see. Do you remember that
Oh, I
one?
saw that. Yes.
Yep, that was a big
Yes.
deal. Son-in-Law with Pauly
Oh,
Shore.
Pauly Shore.
Yep. He was such a thing at this time. And one of my faves, I loved this one, Dennis the Menace, the movie. Do you remember Dennis the Menace?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Walter Matthau and that
Yeah.
boy and Christopher Lloyd and Leah Thompson.
Yes.
Little Back to the Future reunion with those two. Yes. So those were like in the top 10 at this time. Flipping over to news, music, and TV just to set the scene. On the news side, Solana and I were theater people. We enjoy good old Broadway. Angels in America was on Broadway. This was the year it
Wow.
came to Broadway. It was winning Tonys. I think parts 1 and 2 were on at this time this year, or that year. So that was, of course, a big, big deal. On the music side, the number one song was a song I honestly never remembered. I don't think I ever heard it. I played it today. I'm like, I really don't recognize this song. Solana, did you ever hear of the song Weak by the group SWV? Does that ring a bell?
Oh,
It's a little bit of a
I'm so
slower.
weak in the knees, I could hardly
Yeah,
speak.
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, slower
Wait, that's when it
R&B.
came out?
Yeah, that was the
Oh
number
my
one
God,
song.
I didn't
Uh-huh.
know that. I thought it was
Right?
like later, like in the 2000s. I didn't know
Really?
it was that old.
When I heard it, I was like, "Oh
Wow.
my God, this song sounds so dated." I thought it came out earlier than this movie because this movie holds up really well. I think it looks so good
Yeah.
on Disney Plus. I mean, it looks better than some brand new movies nowadays. So, yeah. So, "Weak" by SWV was the number one song, followed by the number 2 song, which would then go on to be number 1 for a long time. Do you remember UB40? Their cover of "Can't Help Falling in Love."
Oh,
It was like a little
yes.
kind of like
Yeah.
reggae pop.
Reggae.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Can't help falling in love. Yeah. So that was a big song. And also on the music side, I just thought this was a random fun fact. Bjork, good old crazy Bjork, had just released her very first album. So here she
Wow.
comes, starting her career. On the TV side, A Different World, the show A Different World, which was a spin-off from The Cosby Show. That had just aired its series finale. It was on for a few years with Lisa Bonet, I think Marissa Tomei, few different stars. So that was a popular show at the time. And in comes Hocus Pocus to, I would have thought, take everyone's attention away, but like I said, it actually really didn't. The number 1 movie was The Firm, so everyone just cared about Tom Cruise. But Solana and I cared more
Yeah.
about our Sanderson Sisters,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Jump back.
Okay, we're back, everybody. I'm here with the witchiest of them all, the good witch. She's not so
Yes.
scary. She's not, she's a
No.
little scary, but not too
Yeah.
scary.
No,
Only
so
when her
scary.
oolie falls out. But I'm here with Solana, and I forgot to say we have our ghost face
Yes.
popcorn. What do you call it? Tub basket? A head?
Yeah, tub. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Solana got one for me. And I was so shocked and happy that I was like, I gotta get one
Yeah.
for her. So now,
Yeah.
get you a friend that gets you a Ghostface popcorn
Yes.
tub. So I know that's a different franchise, but you know. And I also
Yeah.
wanted to show you, Solana, I am wearing my old, I got this shirt back in 2005 when I went with friends to Salem. You'll see how
Oh.
like it's all ripped up. It's so funny. It's all like,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I got my Salem t-shirt on, of course, because we love Salem
Very
and
nice.
this movie. Thank you. For anyone out there who has been living under the biggest rock, I would actually be so sad for any adult, at least, who has not watched at least a few clips from this masterpiece. Can you tell us, Lana, in your own words, what's the pitch? You're in the office with Hollywood. You're not on strike. We know the strikes are
Yeah.
going on right now.
Yes.
Bob Iger, Disney. It's kind of weird to talk about a Disney movie when he's being such a, you know,
Yeah.
not a nice guy. But Solana, tell us, if I'm the executive, pitch me your idea. What is Hocus Pocus
Oh,
about?
Hocus Pocus is about a brother and a sister. They moved from California to Salem.
Hmm.
And first of all, they moved the week of Halloween. That's a crazy time to move, in my opinion, but whatever.
You're so
Yeah.
right, actually. Wait, I've never
Yeah.
I've never really thought about that. How awful to like start the first month of school, or really the first month and a half, somewhere else in
Yeah.
LA, and then at the end of October, now you have to move? Oh my God, you're so right.
Right.
Okay, continue. Yes, excellent point.
Yeah. Max takes Danny, his sister, trick or treating. He really doesn't want to. And he goes to this girl's house, Allison, who he's in, kind of has a crush on.
Yes.
And then they talk about the Sanderson sisters, who are famous in Salem. And Allison's mom used to run the Sanderson Sister Museum. So they decide to go. And so going back, when the Sanderson sisters were still alive in, what was it, 1693? Yeah,
Yes. 300
1693.
years
And
ago at this
yes,
time. Yeah.
at this time. So they had killed by sucking the life out of this girl. Can't think of her name right now.
Emily.
Being sis Emily. Yes, Emily. And then the town found out that well, they think that they killed Emily and Thackeray, not
Right.
Zachary,
Yeah.
Thackeray.
Thackeray.
Yeah,
So cute, by
yeah,
the way. And in
but
his like
yeah,
ripped white
yes,
shirt, he's all wet. He's so determined,
I
but yeah.
I know. And uh so anyway, the townspeople hung the witches, and right before they hung them, Winifred did a spell that a virgin would light the black flame candle on All Hallows Eve, which
Hmm.
we all know is Halloween,
Hmm.
when there's a full moon, which ironically in 2020 we had a full moon on Halloween. And I'm so
Oh,
mad that it was COVID and
I
couldn't really do
know.
anything. And
Oh, you're
I
right.
know. And then on Halloween night, Max, Danny, and Allison go to the museum, and Max lights the black flame candle, and then here come the witches.
What does he
And
say?
then it's a whole
Let's light the sucker and meet the old broads. Such a punk.
rods. Yeah,
Little did he know,
yeah,
right? So yeah, he lights it, and
yeah,
then that door swings open, and here come the ladies.
yes. Like back then, like nobody knew how big like Sarah Jessica Parker would be. Bette Midler was already,
Right.
Bette Midler.
Hmm.
And even Kathy Najimy, like she was only known for Sister Act at that
Right.
time.
She was still
So
pretty
I mean,
new. What a
yeah,
career. What a way to like make a splash. Kathy Najimy was this was in between Sister Act 1 and 2. So like three like amazing memorable movies for her. Wow. The early 90s
yeah.
were very good to her. Yeah.
I mean, there's a little Madonna cameo, which
Yes.
makes it better for me.
Yes, Solana is a Madonna
Yeah,
stan, which by the way, I hope she's doing all right. She had to cancel that tour. Solana, you got tickets for
yes,
her tour, right?
I did. So actually, I think my show was postponed to April 9th.
Oh,
So
hey.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll go. That's in Philly?
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
this is Madison Square
Oh, that's
Garden.
Madison Square
But
Garden. Okay.
Philly is, I haven't gotten anything. So as far as I know, it's still going to be this year, December.
So let me now just tell you, we started talking about where our stars were in their careers. Before we nerd out about our favorite scenes, favorite moments, all that, favorite lines, there are so many perfect lines in this film. I'll just briefly talk about how this movie came to be and where everyone was in their careers. Okay. So it
Okay.
starts with the writers, right? Writers were
Hmm.
David Kirshner. His credits included An American Tail. Remember Fievel? I loved Fievel.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. Yeah.
So random. This guy, his biggest credits were up until this time were An American Tail and Child's Play, the Chucky movies. So
Oh,
there you
wow.
go. And then those
Yeah.
two things birth Hocus Pocus. Also, Mick Garris, who I'm like, how do I know Mick Garris? He is a big horror guy. He had a podcast for a while. He was the director of this great 1992 movie, a year before this, Sleepwalkers. Do you remember
Oh,
Sleepwalkers?
yes.
With the guy that
Yes.
like kind of
That,
turns
yeah.
cat-like. Yeah. So he
Right.
directed
Yeah.
that. He had directed Psycho 4, a TV movie that I did actually really enjoy. And Critters 2. So some good
Oh,
random horror, a little bit of horror comedy cred there. And then the third writer was Neil Cuthbert, who also had a little bit of horror with Return of the Swamp Thing. So he did Swamp Thing too. And how funny, this guy, Neil Cuthbert, I wanted to shout out a little connection because Solana and I are Jersey kids. He was from Montclair, New Jersey. So Hocus
oh.
Pocus has a Jersey connection, which I just had to nerd out about. So here's how these ideas came about. David Kirshner explains that he got the idea when he was sitting with his daughter outside, his young daughter, on their porch or on a step, and his neighbor's black cat strayed by. And he started inventing a tale for his daughter of how the cat was once a boy who was changed into a cat 300 years ago by three evil witches. So that is exactly the story, and that's how Hocus Pocus started. So it first was written by Mick Garris, the guy from Sleepwalkers, that was brought to Walt Disney Pictures back in 1984. So almost 10 years prior was this first iteration written. It was back then called Disney's Halloween House, and it was much darker and scarier because, of course, the 80s, I mean, there were no rules, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the protagonists were all the same age. They were, I guess, three kids that were all 12. It wasn't like some teens
Oh,
and then a little girl, you know? And so
yeah.
Mick Garris and David Kirshner pitched the idea to Steven Spielberg. And Spielberg
Oh,
at the time, yeah, isn't that interesting? Spielberg at the time saw Disney as a competitor to his company, Amblin. You know, by
oh,
that time in the
yeah.
80s, he had already made, E.T. And I mean, he was on top of the world. So he kind of saw them as a competitor and refused to kind of do anything with Disney and do anything called Disney's Halloween House, right? Since they were rivals. So that's funny how like he was in the mix for a minute. And it's funny because now that we know that, thinking of the movie that we've seen so many times, there are little like hints of a Spielbergian type of film in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fun, the
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
in trouble. There's little hints that are part of the DNA, which is fun. We got to talk about Kenny Ortega. He is the director and
Yes.
choreographer of this film. Such an amazing job. He had directed the movie Newsies, movie musical, Christian Bale and Margaret. He directed that for Disney the year prior. And he had directed tons of music videos and TV. This guy had choreographed, again, going back to Madonna's music video for Material Girl, Cher's
Mm-hmm.
video for If I Could Turn Back Time, Gloria Estefan's video for Rhythm Is Gonna Get You, Fleetwood Mac's Gypsy, Olivia Newton-John's Let's Get Physical. Then he also choreographed the movies Dirty Dancing and Xanadu with Olivia. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this guy, oh my God, so super talented. And
Yes.
it's funny, real quick to mention Hocus Pocus 2, I feel like what was sort of lacking for me, and we'll talk more about it at the end of the episode for sure. But I don't know if you agree, Solana, but I just feel like not having Kenny Ortega direct was sort of a mistake, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. He's more musical.
Yeah.
And I think obviously Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, who was on
She had,
Broadway.
yeah, theater. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was in Annie and all that. And it's just more natural to them.
Yep.
And I think that that would have worked a little better, I
Yeah.
think. Was it his idea for I Put a Spell on You? Because
Oh,
I'm not sure. I could
I'm
see
not
it being
sure.
his idea because he directed This Is It, Michael
Yes.
Jackson's last tour.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've ever seen it, he does that whole little section with Thriller. It kind of has like a Hocus Pocus kind of
Oh, that's funny.
feeling
I
to it.
I remember I watched This Is It in the theater. I like snuck out of
Yeah.
work or I saw it right after work one day years ago. And wow, I haven't seen it in years, but I could totally see that. Yeah, and I feel like if I remember correctly, I think Kenny Ortega, if he didn't direct all of the High School Musical movies, he at least directed one of them. So he definitely directs teens and younger actors
Yeah.
really well. Because another thing that
Yeah.
was lacking for me with Hocus Pocus 2 was I love the kids in the first movie. Oh my God, they are
Yes.
excellent
Yeah.
actors. You feel for them, you know exactly who they are. The new kids weren't bad at all, but like I don't know, they were a little wooden, a little boring or something. I don't
Yeah.
the chemistry wasn't there for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think it was like too like manufactured. Like,
yeah. Yeah. And I
yeah.
feel like I'm sure that was
Like,
just Disney having their hand in it too much or something, you know, because I'm sure
yeah.
30 years ago when this came out, of course, it's a Disney movie and they paid for it, but they probably were like, oh, yeah, that's just like this weird summer Halloween thing. Like, we'll see how it goes, you know. But by the
Yeah.
time, of course, the second one came out, Hocus Pocus was a whole big different deal, you know. So I'm
Right.
sure there were a few
Yeah.
cooks in the kitchen, right?
Yeah. Did you read anything about Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes, interesting, huh?
Yeah.
He apparently had
Yeah.
auditioned for the role of Max, and Kenny Ortega apparently really liked him, right? But he was already
Yeah.
getting too busy with What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I can't believe that is also
Right.
turning 30. Wow. Yeah, can
Yeah.
you
So
imagine? I wonder what would have happened to this movie if Leo was in it, because then it's like, I mean, he wasn't yet a star that would come right after What's Eating Gilbert Grape. You know what I mean?
right.
So
Yeah.
wow, wild. That's so wild to think. I think for him, he made a better choice because he's obviously such a
Yeah.
serious Oscar winning actor, and he was nominated for that movie. Although it's funny because nowadays he would have never played that role in What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
No.
No way.
No. No.
But yeah, I thought that was some really great trivia. Apparently
Yeah.
he auditioned. The role of Winifred was apparently written for Cloris Leachman. Did you see that?
No. Oh my God. I love Bet, but I love Cloris Leachman.
Right? And
Like
it's so funny
Young
because
Frankenstein.
oh
Like,
yes, I know you love Young Frankenstein. If
yeah.
I talk about that on this
Yes.
show,
Yes.
you're coming back. But also what's kind
Yeah.
of funny is Cloris Leachman, I'm pretty sure was in the Mary Kate and Ashley movie Double Double Toil and Trouble right
Yes.
around the
And you
same
know who?
time, right?
Yeah. You know who was in that too? Eric McCormick. He was the father.
Oh my God, I love that. That's
Yes.
so funny.
Yes.
How
And
random.
I know, and I didn't even realize that because I used to watch that movie a lot too.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Um,
That was right
but
up our
he looked
alley.
totally, yeah, he looked totally different though. And
How funny.
I think, yeah, I think I realized that like looking at like IMDb or something,
Yeah, you're like, oh
and I
my
was
God.
like, oh
And you
my
know, speaking of
God,
Eric
yeah.
McCormick, I haven't watched this show yet. I'm way behind, but have you heard of the show Slasher?
I heard it's really good,
Yes, I've heard it's
and
really
like
good.
I
And
think he's like creepy in it.
yeah, he's in the
I
new
think,
season, which is, I guess, set in the past. It's an anthology, I guess. So every season's different. But apparently it's a really good, scary show. And he is in this latest season. And I love that he's doing horror because
yeah,
you wouldn't normally think of him because he's so good in everything.
right,
So yeah.
yeah,
Little side note
yeah,
there. But yeah, Cloris Leachman apparently was the person in mind when they were writing the script, which makes sense because you know when they
yeah,
were writing it in the 80s and then rewriting it, you know, 80s early 90s, Cloris Leachman was still definitely a thing. You know,
right,
later as she was getting older, you know, she wasn't as popular anymore, but that makes sense. And then Rosie was apparently offered the role
yes,
of Mary, which makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. But
yes,
she turned it down because she didn't want to be a mean witch, which is funny because I bet many people would call her a mean witch
yeah, I
in real
know.
life. I mean, I don't think so, but you know, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't care if I was going to be, I would be anything to act like next to any one of them.
Oh yeah.
I'll do anything.
Oh, I badly
Yeah.
wanted to be an extra in Hocus Pocus too. I'm like, hey, I haven't done extra work in years, but where do I sign up? But it wasn't actually filmed, as we were talking, I remember a
Yeah.
while ago. It wasn't actually filmed in Salem or even in Mass. It was in Providence, Rhode Island, I believe. That's where they
Yeah.
built the set. So a little bit farther from me, that would have been fun. But oh, I totally hear you. I would not have turned it down to be a mean witch, but I guess back then she had just done A League of Their Own again with Penny Marshall the year prior.
Yeah.
So she wasn't at her talk show status just yet. Yeah, but she was trying to play all her
No.
cards right to ride that wave.
Right.
Because, I know we're jumping around a little bit, but I was shocked, Solana. I was absolutely shocked when I was Googling this movie and it wasn't even nominated for like a Kids' Choice Award. That's how like
I
kind of
know.
under the radar this movie was. But when I was Googling Kids' Choice Awards, I forgot that Rosie for years would host that show. So yeah, she was
Yes.
trying to really get in with the, family friendly market. And so I think she was just like, ugh, but I mean it's Disney. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, with
And
Bette and Sarah
yeah,
Jessica and like, oh my God, like it doesn't get
that's
any
why
better than
I
this.
know.
I mean, Rosie would have been great, but oh my God, Kathy Najimy is absolutely perfect in this role.
Yeah.
All three of these actors, I've like we've said, we've seen this movie so many times, but every time I watch it, like many great 90s comedies, it gets funnier and funnier and I notice little things and the three of them are so fully invested in their characters, right?
Yes.
The little
Uh-huh.
details, the little looks and the like licks and the things they do.
Yeah.
So genius, right?
Twist the bones and bend the back. Here to decapit Malika Mystic.
Back in 1693, the people of Salem, Massachusetts, witches,
Yes?
thought they got rid of the Sanderson sisters for good.
We shall be back!
So let's talk
Yes.
about the actors since we're talking about them. So this is where they were. I know we mentioned Kathy Najimy, Sister Act. She was also in one of the great underrated movies that very few people know about. Did you ever hear of that movie, This Is My Life? Did you ever see that?
No.
She's in that with a
No.
young Samantha Mathis, Julie Kavner. It's all about like, I think Nora Ephron made the movie.
Oh
It was
wait.
it
I
was
think I saw this. I think I
Yes, it
saw
was on
that.
like
Yeah.
HBO. Gabby Hoffman when she was a kid before Now and Then. So Kathy was in a role in that. It's very like about like Hollywood, about making films and TV, and also she was in the iconic Soap Dish. Which how is Soap
Yeah.
Dish not a stage musical yet? And also how
I
is Hocus
know.
Pocus not a Broadway musical? Come on. I mean, I guess they just know they have such a great movie franchise now, but I'm just shocked it didn't become an
Yeah.
actual, Broadway musical because it could have been,
I,
right?
I know. I think they were talking about doing it, but then the pandemic happened. So
Yeah,
then it was just like everything was like out the window,
yeah.
kind of.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about Bette. Let's talk about our lead. And it's funny. I never
Yes.
really noticed until this watch. Oh, and by the way, everybody, I just have to toot my own horn because I want to say it was at least maybe 6 years ago, back when I was living in the city. A group of friends and we did Hocus Pocus trivia, and I just gotta let everyone know we won. We totally won.
Very
So
good.
just wanna shout out that. But something I didn't catch until this latest rewatch. Bette Midler was is so famous, so integral to this movie that did you notice her name is first before even the director's name, before even the production company? Like usually those things,
Yeah.
a Kenny Ortega film, it's Bette Midler first. Like movie starts, you see that book, Bette Midler.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty impressive because that's usually, I mean, usually it's a so-and-so production, a so-and-so film,
Right.
Bette
Yes.
Midler,
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus, right? But no, she's like,
Yeah.
no, you're gonna put my name the very first one. But so Bette was
Right.
just nominated at this time for an Oscar, her second Oscar nomination for a movie that I've actually never seen, and I barely even heard of it, For the Boys. Did you see that one, Solana?
Yes, it's
Okay.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she plays like a Rosemary Clooney type.
Mm.
She sings this really good song called Stuff Like That. Like it's like really Bette
Oh.
Midler-ish. Like a
Oh,
good pop
fun.
song.
Yeah, I somehow
Yeah,
totally,
but
I mean, we were
yeah,
young. I totally missed this one, but I should check it out for the boys.
yeah.
No one really talks about that one, which is surprising when it's
No,
her
yeah, it's a very
and it's an Oscar nomination for her, you know?
yeah, so I mean, I think I watched it later on, like
Yeah.
when I was a little bit older.
Yeah.
I think I did
Mm-hmm.
because it was just too, but I mean, I always loved Bette Midler, so like I always watched any movie she was in. So
Oh
when
yeah.
this came out, it was just, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I just,
So
yeah.
she had done that, and also by this time she already had 7 studio albums released. Her most recent album at this time had not The Wind Beneath My Wings. That was in the 80s. But what's the other one?
From a distance.
From a Distance.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. That song,
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, okay, so before I moved to Morristown, New Jersey, I was going to school and living in Mount Laurel. And it was at Larchmont Elementary School, and I don't know what, I think a teacher passed away. It's all a blur now. I was young. I was like first grade. But I remember they played that song From a Distance, and even as a kid, I don't know if I even had this teacher. I just bawled my eyes out.
Oh,
That
yeah.
song and the candles and this little like memorial that I was like, oh my God, this is so sad. So From a Distance, wow, what a song, what a ballad, right? So that
Yeah.
was like her most recent kind of like song hit, right? And
Yeah.
then, so let's move over to Sarah Jessica Parker, our number two. It's funny, I never really realized until Googling their ages, they are all about 10 years apart. Bet she was 47 or so when this movie came out, 46 when she made it. Kathy was around 35, and Sarah Jessica was around like 27, 28. She was pretty young, right? But so Sarah Jessica Parker,
Yeah.
right before this, she was in Honeymoon in Vegas with, I think also with James Caan and Nicolas Cage. She was in LA Story, and she was also in a TV series I had never knew about called Equal Justice. I think it was a law show that was
Oh,
on for a year or two.
okay.
And then, of course, Kathy, we talked about her. So those are our 3 leads. We'll cap it there. We could talk about the other great young cast members, Thora Birch, Omri Katz. What a name, Omri.
Yes.
And Vanessa
I
Shaw,
know.
who I love, who was gorgeous, still is gorgeous. Still, she out of the three of them, out of the 3 kids, might be working the most because she pops up in like smaller kind of horror films nowadays.
Yeah.
Omri Katz seems to
Yeah.
be totally done with films. And then Thora Birch pops up once in a blue moon. You know, she apparently, did you know,
Right.
Salon, she was supposed to be in the sequel,
Yeah, she was supposed to
right?
be in the sequel and she was supposed to be in Wednesday. I don't know
Yes.
who she was supposed to play,
So
but then
get
something
this.
happened.
Yes, bad luck. She's had some bad luck because I remember also when I was living in New York, when I first moved there, she was going to be in a production of Dracula, which I was like, ooh. But apparently
Oh.
her dad is really awful to work with, and he was her manager, maybe still is. So like she lost the part in the Dracula production. I remember that was like news at the time.
Oh.
So yeah, she's had some bad luck. But yeah, so she actually didn't do Hocus Pocus because she had the role in Tim Burton's Wednesday show. But then, while she was in whatever country they were shooting in, maybe it was London or somewhere, um, she's shooting the Christina Ricci character. But then something came
Oh.
up and there was a family issue and she had to leave the show. And then they brought in Christina Ricci, which honestly is better anyway, since Christina, we know,
Yeah.
famously played Wednesday. So that's a better fit. But
Right.
yeah, so that sucks because now she couldn't have been in either Hocus Pocus 2 or the Wednesday show. So
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. But yeah, I have to say out of all 3 kids, they're all amazing, but I just have such a soft spot for Allison, for Vanessa Shaw. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's cuz I was a big Ladybugs fan. I
Oh
loved
yeah.
Ladybugs the year prior. I've talked about that on the
Yeah.
show. I think she's so cute, she's so smart. I just love her. I love watching her. But again, all 3, the chemistry, like we were saying,
Yeah.
so perfect, right?
300 years later, it's Halloween Eve, and they're back.
We're home.
Solana, tell me, doesn't matter where we start, but tell me, like, why do you love this movie? What are some of the, like, what are the iconic scenes for you? Let's break it down.
Okay. Well, obviously, I put a spell on you.
Oh my God.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I remember seeing the commercial that they
Ooh.
showed on TV.
Yeah.
So every time I saw the commercial, they always showed her singing "I Put a Spell on You." And I was always like, "Oh, I want to see this movie. I like it." And then I remember my mom was like, "Oh, the nun from Sister Act is in that too. We should go see that. That looks good."
Yeah.
And because that's how we knew her, the
Of
nun from
course.
Sister Act.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
I love
until
that you
then,
remember the commercials. Wow. I don't remember the
yeah,
commercials, but I do remember getting so excited because I saw this. I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theater. My memory's a little foggy with this one, but I'm pretty sure I went, and I don't remember the commercials, but I remember having the Disney Channel, and they played like in between like movies and shows on the Disney Channel. They would do like a behind the scenes special, and they had one for
yes,
Hocus Pocus. I almost
yes,
feel like
yeah,
Christina Milian, I feel like was maybe hosting like the Disney Channel like
yeah,
kind of commercial things, and I feel like she was on the set of Hocus Pocus, and I remember specifically seeing behind the scenes footage of the women like on the brooms flying and all that, like,
right,
and I was like, oh my god, sign me up, I am ready, right? Wow.
yeah,
But so the commercial, so okay, they were really playing up the song. Makes perfect sense with Beth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, you. It was a I put a spell on you. And now you're gone.
I think that's what caught my eye.
Mm.
And I mean, and anything witches, anything scary, even like funny, scary. That
Oh
that was
yeah.
my kind of like. I think until then, I used to love. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it was called Bride of Boogedy. Like, do you ever hear of Mr. Boogedy?
Oh yeah,
It was
Mr.
a Disney
Boogedy.
movie.
Yes,
Yeah, but
yes.
then there was the second one, Bride of Boogedy. Until Hocus Pocus, like Bride of Boogedy was like the movie, and I recorded it off of TV because it was like a Disney Sunday night, like how they used to
Oh
show
yeah.
Disney movies.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Wonderful World of Disney. Oh no.
Disney.
Was it
Yes.
on ABC or was it on Disney Channel?
No,
Do
it
you
was on
know? It
ABC.
was on ABC,
It was
yeah.
on ABC.
It was probably
Yeah,
on both, but yeah,
yeah,
because ABC, I
yeah,
love their Sunday night, yeah, Wonderful World of Disney, of course, yeah. You know, it's
yeah.
funny about Mr. Boogedy. I don't think I really watched it when it aired, but later, once I got Disney Plus, and like that was new, and people were talking about, oh my God, they have this. That's when I watched Mr. Boogedy,
Yeah,
or at least in full. Maybe I saw just clips, but oh my God, yeah, it's so funny. I love that all these old things are on Disney Plus because
I know.
remember back in the day, there was the Disney Vault, so you sometimes couldn't even buy some of these movies. And
Right,
then a lot of them were TV movies. And like once a movie aired on TV that was meant for TV, it's not like they really replayed it much. It was like one and done. Maybe you could find it on cable once in a blue moon.
right.
But it's
Yeah,
great that we have access now to these like random TV movies, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the music. I remember I wanted the music from Hocus Pocus so bad.
The music is
And
so good. The score is by
yeah.
John Debney. And fun fact, crazy. So apparently, maybe you know this too, Solana. So interrupt me if you know it. So James Horner, a composer, was originally slated to score the film, but suddenly became unavailable last minute. So the new composer, John Debney, who, fun fact, does a lot of horror and made music for I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I've talked about on the
Oh,
show,
yeah.
random. He made this music and he did it in 2 weeks.
Oh,
That's impressive because I
wow.
love this
Yeah.
score. I love it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I remember my mom and I went to, remember the Colony in New
Mm-hmm.
York? It's like it had every sheet music you could think of.
Oh, yeah.
And any music that was hard to find, you would go there. That was like my big thing. Like, when we go to New York, we go to the Colony. We have to go to
Yeah.
the Colony.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah,
You're like such a cool theater city kid. I went in there
yeah,
once or twice, but then I think it closed soon
it did.
after. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It close, but I mean, now it's so easy to get
Mm-hmm.
like music, and you could record it from YouTube and all that. But I wanted the music so bad, so that's why I recorded it off of TV.
There
And
you
I
go.
just figured I might as well do the whole movie. And
Yeah.
so this way, like, if I wanted to listen to it, I could picture the movie
Oh,
in my head because I
yeah.
knew every move. But like I can listen to it.
Are you boys a little old to be trick-or-treating? talking about 3 ancient hags versus the 20th century. How bad can it be?
I mean, the beginning is iconic with the purple smoke, you know, and he's looking for Emily. And I mean, oh God, the first line, like your mug, the very first line we hear of Winifred is the iconic "Another glorious morning makes me sick," right?
Yeah.
And I love when they turn Thackeray, that his punishment isn't to die but to live forever with his guilt. And then I love that spell. And you know, here's the thing. Obviously we know Hocus Pocus is not scary. But as a kid, I think I saw this when let's see, I'm 36. So I was 6. I think there are moments that I love that they did lean into a little bit of actually scary moments. Like I was telling Greg rewatching it, and he's like, "Oh, come on." But when I was a kid, when I first saw this, I was a little freaked out later in the movie when the kids think they're dead. They've burned them in the school, but then Winifred's pointy nail cuts the screen, and then the door. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I love that there are brief moments that lean into like kind of old-fashioned horror. And since we know the writers all had some horror experience, right?
Yeah.
But I just love, it was a little spooky for me when they look at the camera and they're doing the twist the bones and bend the back. Like, the spells are so much fun, right?
Yes.
And there's a musicality to them, and I like that.
Yeah.
Right? That's that Kenny Ortega, like a very whimsical, very, very musical, which really makes it so memorable for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the spells. And did you know that Kathy Najimy, she was a little bit nervous taking the role because she didn't want to offend real witches? Did you read that?
Oh, that's interesting. And I appreciate that. That is very kind of her. Wow.
Yeah. And she said, because she didn't want to be, you know, because they are like a caricature of a witch. Like, you know, there's people that practice Wicca and all that.
Oh, of course.
And she didn't want to offend them. And that's why I think they were kind of glamorous, all 3 of them. You know, like they weren't the typical, you know, like moles and pointing
that's a good point. You're so right, because even in the beginning, when we see they haven't killed Emily yet, which actually really is so twisted, you know, like we forget because it's a comedy, but like actually on this latest rewatch at the very end when Thackeray is now a ghost boy again and no longer a cat and it reunites with Emily, it actually is quite touching. And maybe also because Thora Birch is a great crier and she's, you know, like it's actually kind of emotional. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
But yes, in the beginning, before they kill her, even when they're, you know, Sarah Jessica's got like, you know, some kind of uglier skin, they're not like that scary or hideous. They're just faded, you know?
Yeah, they just have gray hair and, you know, like a couple wrinkles maybe. And yeah. So I thought that was interesting. That she didn't want to offend, you know, any real witches, which I thought that was pretty nice of her.
And especially at this time in the early 90s, I could see some people not even, you know, caring about real witches, not even thinking that's a thing. So for her to kind of already be aware of that, you know, that's pretty cool. I like that. She's so cool. She's so fun.
Yeah.
Now they're digging up old friends and running amok. Looking for the one thing they miss most.
Who stayed for supper? I'm not hungry. Oh, but we are.
We got to talk about Jay and Ice / Ernie.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh my God. They are the kind of roles that I think if I like could choose, I think I would want to play them because they're just so dumb. They're awful. You know, they're such punks, but they're so funny. And it's funny. You don't really think about them first, but I realized while watching, I knew like every one of their lines. Hollywood, you know, and stop and pay the toll, you know, when they want their candy, and why do all the ugly chicks come out? And then I love when they turn and they say, like, you think they'd be offended at ugly, but actually they're offended at chicks. Like, what do you make of Ernie and Jay, or Ice and Jay, should we say? Do you like them?
I mean, there has to be like some kind of bully in the film. And I mean, I think it's kind of nice that they didn't make, I mean, all right, yeah, the Sanderson sisters are supposed to be evil,
right?
But you're really like happy when they get
Yeah.
ice and,
Oh yeah.
and they put them in the cages. That's like it's
dead man's chunks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're so right. Even though we don't like the witches, we don't want them to win. When they get those guys, we are totally happy, and their feet are dangling, and Sarah's like spinning them. I'm gonna puke.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They get what they deserve for sure. And even wow, I wonder if a movie would do this nowadays. There were a few things that I'm like, I wonder if this would happen in 2023. Later, when Max is in there and he does the cool daylight savings time. I like how he has that, and then he says the burning rain of death. Like, he has these cool moments that are total lies, right? But he sees Ice's feet, because Ice stole his cross trainers. Check out the cross trainers, right? And he just takes them off, and I love it's so dark, but he takes them off, does not save them, and he says tubular. And I was like, ooh, I wonder if a Disney movie would do that now. I feel like they'd be like, he thinks about it, but he does set them free, and now they're all friends, right? But no, in the early 90s, he's like, nah, F you, you're on your own.
know.
Right? But so that was one thing. The other thing was the whole virgin thing, which it's so funny because I love this movie so much that I have done scenes from this for my students in acting class. Of course, around Halloween, we got to do some Hocus Pocus. And one or two students that I've had play Danny, I'm not lying. Both people have gone over the years. Both girls have said, do you want me to say the V word? I'm like, well, it's not a bad, it's not a bad word. And I always tell them when there's cursing, I'm like, hey, that's what the script says. So you want to be an actor, you got to do what the writer needs you to do. But I just thought it was so funny because I'm like, oh, yeah, I know it's weird, but yeah. But when they are talking to who they think is the real police officer, which is crazy because that actor is so good, because I forget every time that he is actually not a police officer, right? And they're like, we lit the black flame candle, and he's a virgin, and then it is weird how he's like, are you a virgin? And Max is like, yeah. And he's like, really? It's a little skeevy, right? How does that scene feel for you? It's a little like
it is. And then if you notice when his girlfriend comes out, I think she's supposed to be like a prostitute. Did you see what she was wearing?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if she's
the cop.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't tell if she was actually a prostitute or if she dressed as a prostitute for Halloween. What do you think?
Well, I'm thinking it's Halloween.
Okay.
Just because he dressed up as a cop. That's I don't know. That's what I always thought.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. The two of them make a little like statement there, and I'm like, okay. But I just thought
really noticed it when I was rewatching it.
Right.
Because I was like, she's wearing like all leopard and gold, and I'm like, wait a minute, she's supposed to be a prostitute. I
remember her laugh so well, and he's like, they thought I was a real cop, and then just like, it's funny how like you watch something or you hear something so many times, you just hear the exact pitch of her like laugh, much like when Max gets on the mic at the party in town hall before the Sanderson sisters sing, when he says, your kids are in danger. I always remember there's this woman, there's this lady that goes, hey, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I just always remember her.
She always reminded me of somebody we both know, and I'll have to
send you a text
message.
I totally know what you mean. Wow, I never thought of that, but it is totally working.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you know. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I love that woman, and it's so. I don't even know what you would call her. Actually, oh my God! I just realized I'm saying to Greg, because I also was watching the end credits, and I'm like, who is Calamity Jane? And I guess it was that woman. She's the very last. Yes. She's the last actor credited. So now we know. Hey, what do you mean? But anyway, so the cop. And then the Max leaving the boys kind of in danger. And then the third thing that I don't think would happen nowadays is seeing Binks, the cat, flattened.
That always upset me so bad. Like,
that's dark. That's quite a sight. And it's not, it doesn't last for long, because then his body in such a cool, again, like early 90s horror movie way, like fills out again, and he's like, ugh. But whoa, for that second that we see a flattened cat, I'm like,
I
whoa,
know.
that's bold.
Yeah, that upset me. Yeah, when I was little, I remember being like, "Oh no!" And
right?
yeah, but then he came alive. Yeah,
and then like,
yeah.
luckily, we're all good again. But whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, speed bump!
Here are messages from fellow Sanderson Sisters and Halloweenaholics, Kit Sheehan and Sabrina Santoro.
Bubble, bubble, I'm in trouble. Seriously, I should be in trouble because I am getting this in so late, and I totally understand if this can't make it into the episode. But I have to say, Hocus Pocus is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is the first movie that I was allowed to stay up until 10 p.m. to watch. I think we were 5. I think it was kindergarten, and my dad was working a late night, and my mom, it was on the Disney Channel. They were playing it on the Disney Channel, and it must have been Halloween time that they were playing it. So it either came out the summer before or the summer before that. But it is so magical. It is so funny. It is so female-led. There's a talking cat whose name is Thackeray Binks. I just absolutely love this movie. I'm gushing about it, and now I don't know what to say other than just lucky, I guess. Also one of my favorite lines in the movie. Oh my God, I'm looking at my little Winifred right now. I have a little Winifred Funko Pop.
Hocus Pocus is iconic in so many ways. It is a must-watch every spooky season, no doubt. The cast is legendary. The Sanderson sisters are divine and absolutely fabulous. You grow up to love a talking cat named Thackeray Binks. I wished I owned Danny's witchy costume. It made me want to sing like SJP, riding her broomstick above Salem, and performing I Put a Spell on You like the fabulous Bette Midler. It just transports me back to Halloween in the 90s, which honestly were just the best times for me. I can quote every line in the movie. It's just got camp, humor, nostalgia, spooky vibes, and just heartwarming moments that you weren't even expecting from a film like that. And every time I watch it, it just brings me back these amazing memories of Halloween, like I said, in the 90s with my family and friends, and just made me want to be a fourth Sanderson sister. I even remember in 1997, a group of friends and we decided to dress up as the Sanderson sisters for Halloween. And this is way before they had the costumes to purchase online or in stores. And it was like really popular. And we thought we were so original. And we had our moms and our grandmothers help us with our costumes and like construct these wigs. And honestly, one of my favorite Halloween moments of all time. And I'm so happy that I have those memories and those pictures still. It truly made me love Halloween and all things Salem and witchy. And honestly, I think Hocus Pocus will be one of my favorite movies of all time. It's that perfect to me.
Only one boy has the power to stop them.
Prepare to die again! You have no powers here, you fool!
Before all Salem falls under their spell.
I think when they go into the high school, when they set the trap for them.
Yes.
And then they lure them into the ceramics room or
I never really knew what that was, but you're right. I guess it's sort of like like an art room because they're in like a heating chamber. I don't even know what it would be called, right? And La Bibliothèque. And I love when, the kids think they're dead, but then they bust the door down and then Winifred comes out talking in French. So funny.
French, yeah. Uh-huh. Now, when I was watching the Disney Plus like extra scenes and commentary, there was a scene that they took out that they were by a pool.
Oh.
And Sarah and Mary push Winifred in the pool, and then she comes out and she's all dry because they do like a spell, and like the whole like pool changes colors. And,
fun!
And I wish they would release like the added scenes, because I remember the commercial. They were in like a grocery store.
I do sort of remember a grocery store like image or something. Okay. Yeah.
And I've never seen it, and they didn't even show it on the commentary, they showed some deleted scenes.
Wow.
But like there's a whole scene with Max and his father,
Oh,
and then
okay.
his father and mother are talking on the porch about, moving
Oh,
and
yep. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I just wish that they would release, maybe they will, like if they do, they haven't released Hocus Pocus 2 like on like Blu-ray or anything.
Right.
So maybe if they do like a box set once 3 comes
Oh,
out,
yeah.
yeah.
Yep. That's a good
So
idea. Yeah, because
yeah,
3's on the way, which is not a surprise. I mean, Hocus Pocus 2 was a big success for the streamer. So, and did you
yeah,
hear the Emmy nominations just came out, and Hocus Pocus 2 has like 3 Emmy noms, including Best TV
yes,
Movie. So, isn't it funny how,
yeah,
like, the first one was theatrical, which, a lot of people, mostly like studios, still think theatrical is like the best thing. But a movie like this actually is getting more recognition as a TV sequel, with awards
right,
and stuff and more people seeing
yeah,
it. So it's funny how, yeah, TV is just, more on top than movies, which it has been for a good few years now. Yeah, I
yeah.
think it was nominated for Best TV Movie, Best Costumes, and maybe Best Music.
I think so.
So,
Yeah,
because the
yeah.
original barely got any award love. I think it won Best
No,
Costumes at the Saturn Awards, which focus on like horror, thriller, fantasy.
right.
And I think Thora Birch won like a Young Artist
Yeah,
Rising Star Award, but like, yeah, it wasn't really, yeah, it just skipped all that stuff.
right.
Totally.
Yeah,
But yeah, I love the high school scene at night too, because also, I mean, just how fun. It looks cool. I love Max, how he thinks he's like so in control. I'm your host,
yeah,
Boris Karloff Jr.,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
super fun.
And I think the one other scene is leading up to I Put a Spell on You, because I mean her mom's dressed as Madonna.
Yeah.
So like
Oh, yeah.
yeah. But now what's weird is you have to watch the Hocus Pocus with the commentary,
Uh-huh.
because between scenes, Kenny Ortega would say to Max, Danny and Allison,
Uh-huh.
like in between scenes, they would play Who Would You Rather? Who would
Okay.
you rather? Oh, yeah, or I don't know. But I was like, but she's like 7. Like, why would you,
Yeah,
I
wait, that's
guess,
so weird. So Kenny, the director, would play that game with them? Who'd you rather?
yeah, yeah. And then he would name 3 people, and then they would pick one. So like he said Elijah Wood, um, I don't know, and 2 others.
Uh-huh.
And like Vanessa and Thora would be like, oh, Elijah Wood, and like whoever the other 3 were. Then later on he was like Madonna, Cindy Crawford, and I can't think of who else, and they all picked Madonna.
Oh,
And
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I was like, that's kind of a weird game. Like, okay, maybe the teenagers, but even that's weird playing, unless like he said like, what, I don't know. It's just
Yeah. That's a
like,
little strange. Maybe it's
yeah,
less who'd you rather and more like who's the best
like who's
choice
your
overall?
crush?
Who's your
Yeah, or
crush?
who's your
Who's your
crush?
yeah,
Yeah,
who's your fave?
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah,
So I
that's
thought
kind of a
that was
weird
like
way to pass the
weird.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that's a little weird. But
Huh.
they showed that. So I guess that's why I don't know what made them do the homage to Madonna. I mean, I guess that's like right around like what's it called? Truth or Dare. So that was like
Yeah.
real big.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
definitely. That was this year. And do
yeah.
you know why Gary Marshall and Penny Marshall, which we have to talk about that scene,
Yes.
iconic, probably
Yes.
besides the musical scene, I think that is my number 2 because they are
Yeah.
just so funny. But do you know why they were in this, like in their cameos? I just wonder, like,
Um
did they know Kenny Ortega? Because yeah, like the Madonna connection with A League of Their Own, and I just wonder, like, yeah, and then of course Kenny's connection with Madonna, working with her on music videos. So it is interesting how the Marshalls
yeah.
got involved in this, right?
I think it might have been because of Bette Midler.
Okay.
Um I think they say on the commentary.
Yeah.
Um, but I know that they were set that Gary Marshall said he made Bette Midler sing "Wind Beneath My Wings" in the Winifred costume.
Oh my God.
Every day they did their scene, like they shot for a week, I
Uh-huh.
guess.
Wow.
And he made her sing that because they worked on Beaches together.
Oh,
So I
did
think
they?
he,
Okay,
yeah.
wow. He worked on that
So
too. Jeez.
yeah, I think he directed that. I
Did
think
he? Oh my
Beaches.
gosh.
Yeah,
That's
I think.
amazing.
Don't quote me on that.
Let's
I'm
see.
not
I'll look it
quite
up.
sure. Like every time they
Oh yeah.
would
Oh
do
yeah.
that,
Gary Marshall did
he
direct.
did. Okay.
Wow. Gary Marshall directed Beaches. Okay, so then there you go. So yeah, that explains it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing it
So
all. It's
I
all
think
coming
that might
together.
have been, yeah, I think that might have been like Bette Midler's idea, probably, like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
have them in. And then I think he had ties with Disney somehow. Like
Okay.
I know he did Princess Diaries later,
Yep. Yep.
but and then I just think he wanted his sister because, they
Oh
just are
my
a good
God.
comedic team.
I still to this
Yeah.
day often say to Greg or to anyone in my house, I say, take your clock, buzz, and get the hell out of my house. I love that. Yeah, the line she says
Yeah.
I think she's saying it to Sarah. She says, tart
Yeah.
face. Oh my gosh. I love that scene so much. It's so funny. I mean, also just, like anything, when someone thinks someone else is someone different, they all think he's
Right.
actually Satan. They
Yeah.
call me master. Well, wait till what I'm going to call you.
Go call
Oh
you.
my.
Yeah.
I just love when Penny Marshall, they think she's like Medusa. So they're like, look at the
Yeah.
snakes in her. But when she comes back downstairs and I just love it's so random. She goes,
Yeah.
She says, honey, I just lost 5 pounds according to the bathroom. And then she sees him dancing with Sarah. And I started saying it on this latest rewatch. She just goes, okay. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh boy, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
And then Mary with the remote because she's watching that baby
Yes.
commercial and she's trying to
Yeah.
change the channel on Penny Marshall. That whole sequence is so funny, so funny.
It is, and it was longer, and I'm so sad that
Oh,
they
was it
cut.
longer? Oh wow.
Yeah, and they had Winifred in the kitchen longer.
Wow.
They
Oh yeah,
showed
torture
this.
chamber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they showed storyboards, like on the commentary. They would show storyboards or some of the scenes if they actually shot them.
Wow.
Is this pretty much a kids' movie, you think that? I think it has tremendous physical comedy for grown-ups, and the grown-ups do love that. But for the kids, it has lots of laughs, but also has just a little bit of terror, too. Not terror like they usually give you, but
not
fun,
like Jurassic Park
not like
terror.
Jurassic Park terror, but fun terror, where it's just Bette Midler.
I don't know if you got to watch the interview with Katie Couric with all three of them.
I didn't get to watch all of it, but okay. Yeah. Well, how was it?
So it was good. I mean, some of the questions, like Katie, it was like a little cringy to me. Like,
oh God,
yeah.
Now I really have to watch.
Yeah, and then she had asked Bette Midler something like, "Oh, she was like, you're not playing Medea or something like that."
Oh.
Like, and like, in other words, like, this isn't like a groundbreaking role.
Jeez.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of like,
okay. Excuse you.
Yeah, like some of the questions were like, you could tell it was like 1993, and
yeah. Well, you could see, and I was looking at reviews. I mean, this movie was not well reviewed, which is crazy because it's so friggin' funny. But yeah, critics were not kind. So I think there was just not enough buzz because, yeah, it didn't seem like adults were taking this seriously, at least some adults, because like even like Siskel and Ebert. Whoa. Since we're talking about it, let me tell you the quote. Yeah. Gene Siskel remarked that the film was a dreadful witches comedy with the only tolerable moment coming when Bette Midler presents one single song. And then Roger Ebert had said he gave the film 1 star out of 4, writing that it was a confusing cauldron in which there is great activity but little progress and a lot of hysterical shrieking. Entertainment Weekly gave it like a C-. Like critics were not kind. So sadly, I guess it makes sense that Katie Couric also was sort of like treating them a little differently because everyone just thought it's like, why are you doing this? But meanwhile, they're all like, thank you. Right?
Yeah. And there was something else. I was looking at my notes. Oh, I couldn't find if this was true. Like I found something that said this, that Ralph, the little dog that dressed like the devil, with Penny Marshall and Gary Marshall, that was Kathy and Jimmy's dog. I don't know for sure, but I found something that said that with like fun facts of Hocus Pocus.
Okay.
But like I couldn't find like to see if there was something to back it up.
Oh, that's
but
interesting.
I could see that being somebody's dog.
I
Yeah.
love when she says, Ralph, sick 'em, and he chases them out, and then he like stands on the pumpkin. So cute.
Yeah.
His front paws are like on the pumpkin. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sure that shot took so long to get the dog to do that, but so cute.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Bette Midler.
Hello.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Would thou dance with me?
And Kathy Najimy. Hocus Pocus.
Oh, I know. I just wanted to say that Sarah Jessica Parker is a real descendant from somebody that was accused of witchcraft.
I did hear that. That is cool. That makes her casting even more cool. She is so funny in this movie because we know obviously from Sex and the City and many things she is funny, but man, she is a true comedian in this movie. Physically, you know, and of course everyone loves the amok, and then like, you know, Winifred punches her, but even like other things, how she's eating the spider, how she's just so ditzy, speed bump, you know, like she gives it her all. And the movie is that much better for her just totally diving in, you know?
And then in that Katie Couric interview, she said that watching the movie, she saw that they cut a lot of her scenes.
Oh, Sarah Jessica's scenes were cut.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer. Wow. So she had even more to do.
Yeah. So
I'm so intrigued.
So now it makes sense, like skipping over to Hocus Pocus 2, like when she was like she stuck up for herself. Like it was like kind of towards the end, like, you know, my opinion is just as good as yours. So like that kind of makes sense because they left a lot out, I think. So I mean, I wouldn't have mind if the movie was a little longer back then, you know, but
the movie runs like an hour and like 36 minutes, I think, and you know, which is perfect, but I would totally, if there existed an extended cut, are you kidding? They would make even more millions for sure. Right. Oh yeah, that's not a problem.
And re-release it in the theaters. And then I don't know if you read this, but the only reason why they didn't release it in October is because Nightmare Before Christmas came out that same year.
I know that's gonna have a big anniversary. I love that one too. It's funny how Disney had two kind of, you know, off-brand Halloweeny films that year that have become huge for them in hindsight, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I also heard that David Kushner, the writer-producer, did say that apparently the film came out in mid-July because Disney had told him if they released it in October, not as many kids would see it. In July, everyone's free and off from school. I'm like, kids go to the movies all year round.
Yeah. I
mean,
don't know where they
Solana
got
and I were going to the movies every weekend probably. So don't worry about that.
I was,
Oh yeah, especially in October. Are you kidding? I was seeing everything, even if it was shit. I was like, gotta go every Friday, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of a dumb excuse, but I could see back then them being like, yeah, you know, kids are busy in the fall. You know, but that makes sense. Yeah, they didn't want to oversaturate and have to split their, you know, budgets and teams for two movies at the same time. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but and still, like, you know, maybe September. I don't know, like late August to mid-July is kind of random. You know, for this movie, it's pretty random.
Right.
If it was like August 25th, I could see that where everyone's really wanting to cool off. You know, so
now what they should have done though, like they do now, they should have came out with the costumes. So I went crazy looking for a Sanderson sister costume.
Yeah.
And I just made my own.
Yeah.
And you know, so when they actually came out with one, that's when I was like, I have to get it.
Well, you know, what's sad is, you know, because the movie wasn't #1 and it wasn't in theaters for more than like a month-ish, and because women were leading it, they probably were like, all right, why come out with merchandise and costumes? It wasn't really that big, you know? If it was a different movie, with men or something, and it was more successful, I bet you would have seen costumes by that Halloween for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they had Jurassic Park costumes.
Oh,
I remember
totally.
that.
Oh, they had all that merchandise right away. Yeah.
Uh-huh. They had decals you could put on the side of your
Oh,
car.
yeah. Oh my God. So cool.
Yeah. But I have one more fun fact.
Tell me.
So when Hocus Pocus 2 came out, I was reading and I couldn't find it again to like prove it. But in the beginning of I Put a Spell on You, when she says, "Hello, Salem, my name is Winifred." So they said that she's really saying "Hello, sailors," because there's sailors in the front of the stage.
Oh, what? Wow.
Yeah. But on every sing-along and even when people sing it, they say "Hello, Salem." That same year she did Gypsy, or maybe the year later.
I think it was the year later. It was maybe a few months later. Actually, let me look real quick while we're talking. But yeah, she did that big TV movie of Gypsy, right?
Yeah, and big line that Gypsy Rose Lee and she played Rose. They say, "Hello, everybody. My name is Rose. What's yours?"
Yes.
So that was like a play.
Oh, that's genius. Yeah, that was like this same year. Wow, that was a big year for Bet. She did this, and then in December, right around Christmas time, was the Gypsy TV movie in '93. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a famous line from Gypsy, which I could see her character saying that.
Totally.
So
one fun fact, and maybe you saw this too, we got to talk real quick about the great Doug Jones as Billy Butcherson.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, I could see some kids being scared of that, but I love him. I'm actually shocked I never went dressed as him for Halloween, because that is so up my alley. We need to have more Billy Butcherson costumes. But I love him. I love when he finally, I mean, just all the great, again, physical comedy, his fingers, his head. He's decapitated twice in this movie. Again, I don't know if a Disney movie nowadays would decapitate the same character twice, maybe, but I don't know. Things are so different now, right? Back then we were wackier. But I love when he finally rips open his mouth and he just says, "Trollop." What does he say? "You firefly from hell." Love that whole their little battle back and forth is so great. I forget. I just watched the movie and I should know. Did he cheat on Winifred with Sarah? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, that's how it went. According to Hocus Pocus 1.
Right.
And then Hocus Pocus 2 is a whole different.
Yes. Okay. We'll talk about that. I'm glad you brought that up, because I remember, because I'm like, okay, yeah, I thought that's what it was. But then I do remember Hocus Pocus 2 changed things a bit or something. It's a little foggy.
Yeah.
But I read, and maybe you saw this too, that apparently the moths that come out of his mouth are real. They are not computer generated, which is crazy. That is crazy.
I know. Like, how did he, like, I mean, I guess they did that in Candyman, right?
Oh, with the bees. Yes, absolutely. Tony
and they
Todd
were coming
got
out of his mouth. Right? Yeah.
Oh my God. No.
So
no
I think there's
way.
I know. I think there's some kind of like guard or like a mouth guard or something. Yeah.
Something that fits in their mouth, and then they. But so I thought that was pretty crazy. You gotta love Billy and all that great comedic stuff. And then one last thing I wanted to say, I also love right after the great intro, they're hanged, that whole bit. And then we see that great teacher, and I know exactly how she speaks and like how she, and so the Sanderson sisters were hanged. And so cool Max Dennison, new in town with his California laid back tie-dye, what she says to him, right?
Yeah.
Can we just talk about how absolutely, like, I would have never been this kid? How like ballsy, how delusional it was that he gives his number to Allison in front of everyone, like in front of the everyone is watching them, and he's like, "Here's my number." I know that's like, we've seen that scene a million times, but as an adult now, I'm like, whoa, the courage this kid has. Oh my God, I just had to like shout that out. I'm like, wow, you are crazy. You got a lot of courage for only 16. No way. And then how she's like, she gives him a note and he's all excited, but actually it's just the note he gave her.
Yeah.
Right?
Into the night!
They love to fly. And it shows.
Good night. Sleep tight. No screaming.
I watched it with subtitles, and there are some things I never caught before. I didn't know when they're in the high school, and they see the cat, they see Binks, and then Winifred says hag tracks. I never knew she said hag tracks.
That.
Yes,
yeah.
I because sometimes they say these words and they're screaming or it's so fast you kind of miss them. Hag tracks, and then that's when they're doing their iconic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I would do that with friends.
Yeah. I know. I just noticed that too. I never knew that.
Right?
Never knew that. And
it really helps to watch with subtitles. You learn so many new things for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I miss they call the firefighters witch hunters, you know, and like just things that I'm like, wow, I totally miss these little jokes. But yeah, let's briefly now talk about Hocus Pocus 2. Obviously, big deal, came to Disney Plus last, September, October. So what'd you think of it, Solana? Because, there are some good moments. I really did like the Walgreens scene. I remember that made me laugh.
Yes.
But overall, it doesn't hold a candle, wink, wink, to the first one. Do you agree? Or do you feel like they're equal? What do you think?
No, they're not equal. Like Hocus Pocus 1 will always be, the best.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I did like it.
Okay.
I was just a little disappointed there was no original characters other than the witches and Billy. Because I had this whole idea in my mind that Allison and Max had kids,
right?
And then they never maybe never believed the stories they would say, and then they we'll call Aunt Danny to come and tell you the story. I feel like they could have done so much.
I guess apparently the plan was for Danny to be one of the girls' moms, I heard. So, but I don't know if it's because she didn't do it that the mom roles were very small, or if it was always going to be small. Because it's like, don't bring her back just to give her like 2 lines. Like let's give her a nice supporting role, right?
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting because now that they're doing a third one, I think it could be really great to bring back those kids. Obviously now they're adults.
Yeah.
If they're game. And I feel like Thora Birch was definitely game, like we said, but just chose something else. And I remember hearing that Allison, played by Vanessa Shaw, she said she would have loved to have done it, but she was never contacted. So they could totally bring her. I could see Allison now as like the principal. That could be fun. I don't know if Omri Katz would come back because he seems to really not do anything at all Hollywood related.
Yeah.
But I mean, give him a scene. Maybe he's dropping the kids off with Aunt Danny and that's it or something. Yeah. And it's, or maybe he died and it's sad and Vanessa, Allison's like a widow, but then like, he has one scene at the end where like they see his ghost. I don't know. You could do something, right?
Yeah, or he comes back with like Thackeray Binks.
I would also love to see. Oh yeah, totally. He can come back standing there with Thackeray. That could be fun because I don't even think that actor didn't come back in 2, right? For Thackeray Binks, I forget his name.
No, I thought that Thora Birch would have played Sam Richardson's part. The owner of the
I don't love
shop.
him. I did not really love him in that. And he and then the funny guy from Veep. What's his name?
Tony Hale.
Tony Hale. I love Tony Hale, but the two of them, I almost feel like their roles should have been smaller. There was like too much of them.
Yeah.
I wanted Hannah Waddingham, I believe is her name, from Ted Lasso. I liked her in the beginning, in that sort of back in 1693 or whatever it was.
Right.
I kind of thought she was going to come back at the end and she was going to actually be like the super villain and like, like that would have been interesting, but we never saw her again.
No, but I think that's where they're trying to head for Hocus Pocus 3.
Yeah.
Possibly. Like I've read a couple things. I don't know if they're true, but I really wish in Hocus Pocus 2 they stayed more with them as younger kids. I would like to have, because they were really good actresses. Those they were very girls. Good. They were really good.
That was actually interesting. Although, again, I feel like the new one softened things. Like the original is so good because there actually were some high stakes. These witches are killing kids. They're like sucking the life out of them, right? Like we're talking about virgins. Like it's a family movie, but I mean, there's some serious stuff going on. I just felt like the second one, because what was the main problem in the beginning of 2? It's that they're banished, right?
Yeah, they were going to take away none of them liked Winifred because she spoke her mind.
Right.
And they were going to take away her sisters from her. But where was their mother? Because they talked about their mother.
Yes, mother.
So much in the
You're
first
so right.
one.
Yeah.
And then on the commentary back to the first one, they said that the 3 of them all had different fathers, and Mary's father was like a hunter, like, so that's where she gets like the bark,
the smell,
like, from
and the
the
bark.
dog.
Yes.
Yeah. Sarah's father was the town idiot.
Okay.
Or something. That's what they said. The town idiot. I don't know. Whatever. Yep. And then Winifred's dad might have been like Satan himself, or something, something like that.
If I was writing 3, and this goes back to our ideas for a Stay Tuned reboot, right, last year.
Right.
But okay, if I was writing 3, so I would do what a lot of sequels do nowadays, where now you're merging like the cast from the first one and then the cast from the second one. So now we got like some returning characters with the new characters, right? We got a whole new cast here meshing together. And what could be fun is if there's a spell that actually, I mean, I don't know, maybe this has been done before, or I'm sure it has, but wouldn't it be fun to see like the modern day characters get sucked back into 1693?
Oh yeah,
that could be kind of fun. Idea. And now they're working with like the Sandersons as kids, and and meanwhile the adult Sandersons are like, that could be kind of fun to change it up a bit, because also I did feel like the second one sort of wasn't all that different than the first one. It was sort of doing a lot of the same stuff, if I remember,
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that could be kind of something different. But yeah, I want to see more witches. I think Hannah Waddingham was very interesting as this sort of like regal, supreme, sort of their mentor. Yeah. We got to see more of her, and I then kind of want her to like turn bad or something, and they have to kind of go against her or something. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I also was thinking, since I know they're doing, I think her name's Agatha, Catherine Hahn from the WandaVision show.
Oh, yeah.
I could totally see them expanding the Hocus Pocus universe, and now like the Sandersons are with Agatha, and like there's right. That feels like a no-brainer. That could be like the Marvel of like witches someday.
Right.
So I could see them doing like a spin-off of that or something. So there's definitely material to mine. I just want it to be, I want it to have the good comedy, the good lines.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch 2, and I want to. I just remember I was a little bored ultimately,
Yeah, I mean, I liked it because I don't know. I remember I watched it like it was released like 3 a.m.
Oh my God. And you were the first person I know that watched it at that time. Did you go to sleep and wake up, or were you just up?
No, I fell asleep, and then like I woke up. I was like, oh my God. and I put it on, and then I was like wide awake.
Yeah.
Like
Oh.
And so I mean, I liked it. Yeah. I'm not going to say that I hated it. I liked it. Of course, I liked the musical numbers. I thought that was fun. Like,
I did like The Witch is Back, and what else did they sing? They had 2 songs in the new one.
Yeah, One Way or Another.
Oh yeah,
like
that was
Blondie.
fun.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that was fun, and they had the drag queens. On stage. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, that was so fun.
Yeah.
You know what could be funny for the third one is if they get meta, because I feel like in the second one, I don't know, my memory of it is so foggy, but like it could be fun to have a whole town hall Halloween party, but everyone is dressed up as Sandersons.
Yeah.
Right? That could be fun.
That's what they were saying, that, everybody loves you and they dress up as you. That's what they told them.
Right.
But the Walgreens scene was cute.
Yes,
I liked it with
that
the
was
selfie.
Cute. And I remember Sarah, I think, or maybe it's Mary. One of them is like eating like a face mask. They're like licking it. Yeah. That was cute. That was definitely funny. That made me laugh. But I mean, don't get me wrong. Much like in Just Like That, even though that show is not that good, not nearly as good as Sex and the City, but like like the Scream films, and like I am always gonna want to see my favorite characters come back.
Right.
I hope the movie's at least decent, but it's always fun to see them return. So, and I have to say again, going back to things being actually a little scary, And don't get me wrong, I love scary movies. I've seen a lot of scary shit. But like in Hocus Pocus 2, when the witches come back, the flashing strobing lights, I was actually like, oh, okay, we're getting a little creepy here.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was impressed by that. I'm like, we're not like holding back. We're getting like how they were like slowly. I was like, okay, I'm liking that we're getting a little dark in that moment, at least. You know?
Yeah, and I mean the rest of it, there wasn't really that like there's the one jump scare when on the first one when Sarah's hiding in the bed.
Yeah.
And he's like, Danny, that was good. And
I love
they didn't
that.
really
That's the clever little white witch scene. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So good. And then, I never really thought about it, but wow, the witches steal Danny and they blast off out of that cool roof thing that Max has. And I'm like, oh my God, like now their house is ruined. Like the parents don't know that now there's a big hole in their roof.
Hole in the roof. Yeah.
Like that would have actually been a fun post-credit scene, because I know we get the little scene after the movie ends, but before, as the credits are rolling, where the parents and everyone are finally, leaving town hall. They've been dancing all night, right? But it would be fun at the very end for them to come home and be like, Max, what the heck happened to the roof?
Yeah.
We wanted to go to the Pioneer Village, which is where they shoot the opening.
Yeah.
But the line was so long. Forget it. We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And it's not open all the time. It's open seasonally and then only open like on weekends.
On the weekends. Yeah. When we went on a Thursday and my mom held the camera over the fence and took pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get the pictures I really wanted because I wanted to like be in the house and be like,
I know. Maybe that'd be fun if we can plan a visit to Pioneer Village. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
And didn't you love when Roni went to Salem and they went to the Pioneer Village? Yes, that was so fun.
That was so funny.
I loved that whole
That's what
thing.
made me want to plan the trip after I saw that. I was like, I have to go because it was like after COVID.
Well, I forget, Solana, was this your first time going to Salem?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
About friggin' time.
Yes.
Oh my God. I've been going since I was a kid. I've gone at least, I don't know, I feel like 10 times. Yeah.
No, so this will be my second time, but and we're making brooms again.
Oh my God.
And then this is my broom I made.
Ooh,
I got the bigger
us.
one.
Well, Solana, in our last minute left on Zoom, any final thoughts? Anything you didn't get to share that you wanted to share?
No, I mean, if you haven't watched Hocus Pocus, watch it.
Oh my God.
That's all I could say.
I don't trust anyone who has not watched Hocus Pocus. No. I'm going to put it right out there.
Yeah.
Life is too short to not experience Hocus Pocus. Am I right?
I know. Yeah. You're totally right.
There we go.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening or watching, and thank you for leaving a review or a thumbs up as well. Big thank you to my good witch, Solana Sorrento, and thanks also for the cameos, Sabrina and Kit. And listeners, if you're in the mood for a candle, maybe not the Black Flame candle, but perhaps a candle called Salem Witch's Shop, head over to nubblelightcandle.com and get 20% off your order with the code REWIND, REWIND. Thank you, Straw Hat Media, Greg Clements, Kyle Motzinger, and Portland Media Center. And follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, at Release Date Rewind, for bonus content and updates about this show. On the next episode, we're talking about another July 1993 comedy about an axe murderer. What could that be? Bye-bye.